Good morning and welcome everyone to the Beginners Online Trading webinar. My name is Danny and I will give you the webinar today. Before we will begin, as always, I would like us to go through a quick sound check. So please use the question section to the bottom right to confirm that the sound is okay on your end. And then we can proceed. And of course, if you can confirm to me that you also see the screen here, that will be amazing as well. Okay, so you can, like I said, before we begin, okay, thank you, Barry, Michael, Arno, great. Okay, I hope that it's also working for everybody else. We will first have an explanation how the webinar is going to happen. Like I said, I'm Danny. This is the Beginners Online Trading webinar. Even though it's called like that, we're still going to acquire some necessary skills for intermediate and advanced traders as well. So the first part will be more of an introduction to the company for AvaTrade and the facility we're having here, which is called a web trader, and it can be found in our website. A second part will be more practical. We're going to go through certain basic essentials in terms of what we have here in the right-hand panel. We'll also speak about those four: value, leverage, margin impact, and the spread. And lastly, if we'll have spare time, perhaps we'll have an introduction to analysis as well. No guarantees, you guys know. Oh, I'm sorry, just no guarantees. You guys knows the drill. If we'll have spare time, so we'll do it. Otherwise, we would like to put the majority of our webinar into the second segment. And it's important to know that any capital markets and trading information disclosed in this webinar is provided for informative purposes only. It should not be constructed or applied as an investment advice, recommendation, or a suggestion. Now, a very frequent request is to receive the webinar, to receive the recording of this webinar, so you guys can review it in your own pace and just repeat the parts that you want as many times as you want. And the recording can be found on our channel on YouTube. So all you have to do is basically go to our YouTube channel, and in the YouTube channel to look for the webinar that you want. This webinar will be there as well, and the rest of the other webinars that we're doing: fundamental analysis, technical analysis, live Q&A, and many, many more. A lot of content that can be found there and be helpful. All right, so I would like to make sure that everything is working as it's supposed to be. Just a few moments, I'll be back and we'll hit the road. Thank you very much. All right, so we are back and we can officially begin the Beginners Online Trading webinar. My name is Danny. This is a live webinar. You're free to use the question section to ask whatever you want along the way. And we will open the webinar with a quick introduction to the company. So as you guys know, AvaTrade is a regulated company. We have 9 licenses worldwide since 2006. In case you got a query or a question, you can address the customer service via a few different ways. The main way, if you're using the same interface as I do, is here at the bottom left. Chat with us or through the WhatsApp. Or if you're using a different interface and you want a direct email to customer service, it can be through cs@avatrade.com. This is for everything's related to customer service. For trading queries, you can address your senior account manager. They can give you assistance through your journey in terms of basically everything under the trading's umbrella: a plan, calculations, risk money management, analysis, general questions about the platform, and so much more. We don't charge anything extra for the senior account manager, so you can access the customer service depending on your eligibility and ask the senior account manager to be assigned and give you full support through the process. All right, this facility is called a web trader. We're going to have the webinar on this platform. This is also the desktop version, so you can also find it in the app. And in the app, it's called the AvaTrade Trading app. Okay, it does look a bit different since this is a computer and on the phone it's a phone, so it will present differently. But the majority of the features that I'm going to show you today can be found there as well. So beside the web trader, of course, we have the regular platforms as well. MetaTrader 4, MetaTrader 5, and also a platform for options and Ava Social. Now, Ava Social, since this is a webinar for beginners, it's worth mentioning a few functions Ava Social is giving us. One function is to follow, the other one is to copy. I will briefly explain about the differences. If I'll fold this down, we can see a list here at the top. And going through the lists, of course, in Ava Social, instead of instruments, we're going to have traders. And we're able to select if we would like to follow a trader or copy a trader. If I'm following a trader, that means that I'm going to get notifications with the positions that the trader took. And it's up to me if I want to do it the same way, or I would like to use it just as an inspiration, and perhaps I'll strategize on top of that, or just do it for research. But there is no, beside those notifications, my positions will not be executed automatically. I have to decide and then use it as I want. When I'm copying another trader, I'm also going to get notifications with the positions that he's taken, and I can then review on MT4 and or MT5 if I want to. And also the positions will be executed automatically. That means that whatever the traders that I'm trading copying is doing, my account will do the same automatically. Now, the biggest advantage using Ava Social is that I can also customize the lot size difference in case that I'm copying an account that is not compatible with my balance. So for instance, now we have on this demo account $10,000. Let's suppose that we are copying somebody with half a million, or even slightly than what we have now, maybe 30 or even 40. Then there might be a case when this trader is going to take a position that my account will not handle. And in this case, like I said, I can customize and choose that I'm still going to copy the strategy, but I'm going to do it with different lot size, which I find extremely useful because you can, like I said, use it for research or whatever else you want, still being cautious and testing things out. All right, so those are the platforms. Most of them are self-explanatory. We're not going to teach you options today. Those, well, like I said, quite self-explanatory. We're going to carry on with the guide through on the website. And we are going to carry on with the web trader. That means that, guys, the services that I am about to show you now can only be found on this interface. All right, let's fold it down. We're going to begin from what we have here at the left-hand side. In here, I can find my personal information. In here, it's trade. It's where we are at right now. Underneath, we have positions, orders, and then history to review what we did. And the signal section, actually, let's take a look at that. Okay. Now, the signals in our facility can be accessed in two ways. One is obviously through the signal section. The other way is simply by, as we can see, we can identify an instrument with a signal by having this blue lightning icon. Okay, if it doesn't have it, just a second. Okay, if it's not there, that means that the instrument doesn't have it, the indice doesn't have it. If it's there, we can click it, okay, for instance, and then we see that there is a bunch of information presented here. Of course, we're gonna go through that, but right now I'm just showing you how to access the signals. Why is that important that we can access the signals from here, not only from the signal section? If I go to the signal section and I want a particular asset, I have to manually scroll down, right? I have to find the instrument that I want and find out if it's in the signal section or not. Okay, I can also go through the categories. So for instance, I wanted NASDAQ and NASDAQ is here. Okay, the other way to do it is if I look for NASDAQ here, I want to know if NASDAQ has a signal, simply searching it here, clicking it, and then it's showing us right away that signal has that NASDAQ has a signal, and then by clicking on the signal, I get the same information as from the signal section. Now, there is also an advantage doing it from here. If I'm careless about what instrument I want to trade, and I will have my inspiration from the signal section itself. The difference is that in the signal section, we can also see when the signal was produced in comparison to time. So this will be the newest one, going down will be the older, and at the bottom, the oldest. Why there is a difference between taking a signal that was just made to a signal that was made 6 or 7 hours ago, that is the difference. Signals are made upon a certain price with a certain agenda, a buy scenario or a sell scenario. That means, let me expand the chart quickly. That means that if as you can see, the general trend now is bearish. As we can see, the levels that was anticipated when the signal was produced has already passed. Those levels has already occurred, which makes this signal futile. Okay, what this signals allows us to do is not only giving us the support and resistance and the levels we see here. What it's giving us is it places automatically take profit and stop loss based on those support and resistance. Okay, and if I click buy or sell, I'll have take profit and stop loss automatically. Now, I'm going to show you this example with this signal that has already passed, okay, which is invalid. And if I click here on the buy, we are not going to get the take profit and the stop loss as we are supposed to do, supposed to have with a regular signal. So if I'll take something that is valid, like gold, and I'll click on view signal, then I expand the chart, and I see I have this nice resistance and support. And let's suppose that this is this is a sell type, but let's suppose that I want to go with a buy scenario. Now I'll have the take profit and stop loss on my, as you can see. Okay, of course, later on I can adjust it to fit to my needs. And I can also change the lot size if I feel that this position is too small and I would like to extend it like this. Okay, as an example, or even more than that. Okay, of course, my profit and possible profit and possible loss will change automatically. But let's for a moment speak about what take profit and stop loss are doing. Okay, there are few ways to close the position after we've opened it. Okay, one is manually and one is automatically. So if I don't want to stay forever by the chart and find out if the level that I'm expecting to get will get there or not, what I can do is I can place a pending order with a request for this price to take the profit, to close the position with the profit when reaching that price. So there are manual orders and there are pending orders. Okay, we're looking at a very small time frame. Let's just quickly adjust what we have here so we can look at a better picture to explain. Okay, there are manual orders, market execution, and there is pending orders. Pending orders are relying on a price that we set them, and they will be closed either with a profit or with a loss. We even have the ability to automate a price to launch the position. So we can close the position automatically with the profit, we can close it automatically with a loss, and we can even open the position when reaching a certain price. All of those three are automatic. Okay, that I can set. It will be based on what we have here above. So I can set as an example, I don't want to buy now, I want to buy the 26.50 mark. Okay, and according to that, I'm going to change my values. Oh, sorry. Let's make this one. Okay. Yeah, those are pending orders. Now, when using the signals, how did we get to this explanation? Because we were looking at the signals, and it's important for me that you guys understand what the take profit and the stop loss are doing, so you can enjoy the signals to its full extent. Again, we're going to click on the view signal. We're going to expand the chart like we did, but this time we're going to go with a sell scenario. That means that this needs to be the other way around. Just to clarify something quickly, guys, as this is a webinar for beginners. When I'm buying something, my intention is that the value will increase. If it goes down, I have a loss. And when I'm selling something, my intention is that the value will decrease. So if it goes higher, I have a loss. So if I go with the sell scenario now, let's try that. We can see that the 26.74 is where the support were there. And it seems like this will be our take profit. And the stop loss is at the 27.04 mark. Okay. And this will be our stop loss. And as I have explained, stop loss stops the position with a loss. Take profit is closing it with a profit. Execute when the price hits lets us in advance set the price that we wish to launch the position automatically. Super, super simple. Nothing here is complex. On top of that, I can also take the analysis from the signal a step forward, and I can start placing the lines here, match the validity to match the picture in here, and start doing even more advanced analysis, which we're not going to do now because we don't want to waste any time. It's important to also note that the signals are from the trading central and not by AvaTrade. And this is considered as technical analysis. So what do we do with the fundamental analysis? There are a few other things that I can show you. One here at the news section, there are a few categories. And as you can see, as soon as I got into this section, I can filter it to my liking. Let's go with commodities just as an example. And we even have something for gold here. And we can see gold, further advance, US inflation and focus. And that means that whatever I'm going to read here might hint me an idea of what's happening with gold. One related instrument, gold. Of course, this is an article for gold, so no surprise. But if I'll go with pre-Asia market brief as an example, US stocks closed lower, inflation data closely watched, then I can go through this, and then I can see we have 4 related instruments. If I'll click it, we can see oil, gold, Bitcoin, Aussie versus dollar, which is amazing because it means that I can analyze. Perhaps it will help me analyze more than even one instrument. All right, this is as well provided by the Trading Central. Underneath, we have here the discovery, we have analysis views, market buzz, forex features, ideas, economic calendar, and trading calculator. I wish to show you the market buzz just for a moment because it's quite amazing. It's very accessible. We're going to give it a moment. Righto. And as you can see, we have bubbles here. We can change the scale to what we prefer. If we don't want to look at it as bubbles, we can see it as a table, whatever you guys prefer. And of course, we have here also categories as well. Let's, for instance, go with what we have here in the middle. We click on Tesla, takes us to a new screen. And in this new screen, we have here presented to the right all the articles related to the mentions that we saw. We saw that Tesla now has how many mentions? Let's look again. 418. Now, I don't want to go through random articles and find out what's more relevant to my research. I want to specifically go with product demand increase. Okay, and by clicking here on the box, then I can filter it what I have here, and I can directly go to the article that I want. Okay, yeah, that's very, very simple to use. Okay, underneath market buzz, we have here the economic calendar, which I can also briefly show you. And in the economic calendar, it seems I don't know if this is okay. Let's just maybe reset everything. Okay, it was on reset. This is why it didn't appear. Okay. If you have any other choices that you've made, any changes that you've made in your filters or something like that, or the days, and you want to get back, the fastest way, let's suppose it was like this, the fastest way to reset everything and go back to default, like I'm about to show you now, is by clicking on the button here, and then we are back. Okay, as you can see, the first thing that I would like to show you guys is that there are rows which are grayer, and there are rows which are a little lighter, closer to the white area, to the white color. And the reason is those events from the red line and above are events that happen already. This is why they also have the actual result. Of course, things that yet to happen, we're not going to know the actual result. And it will be presented under the red line with a bit more light or white than what we have here. Now, let's suppose that I don't want to go through all the events. Okay, I want to read only what's interesting to me. And the way that I can filter it is by clicking here next to the flags on the box. And now specifically it's showing me only events or reports related to the US. On top of that, let's assume that I don't want to focus on everything's presented here. I only want to go with major events like the inflation rate or the something else. You can click here on the high, and then I only get high impact events. Of course, as we can see here by the calendar itself, we have the dates, which we can click and mark. And if we're going to stay with the 11th, it's only going to show us the events that we have today. But if I'll click on the day, and then I expand it for even 2 weeks, oh, sorry, let's try that again. And you got to have the blue trail coming from day to another to know that you did it correctly. You see, if I click it like this, oh, it worked. Okay, you see, this time it didn't capture the time. We'll click it again. When we have the blue trail, then we know that it's presenting from this date till this date, and not only what we have today, but many other events which we can prepare to. What we have here presented to the right is, of course, let's go through that quickly. This is the previous result. This is what we expect as a forecast. This is the actual. We're not going to have it until the actual event took place. Of course, the date of the event, the time of the event. Okay, the changes, as you can see. All right, in here we have 4 buttons, 1, 2, 3, 4, well, 5 buttons. And these 5 buttons can help us prepare to this event. We have here the impact, volatility, price chart, event chart, and the favorite function here, which is super useful because if I click here on the tiny calendar icon, I can even book it in my own calendar. I mean, what's better than that? Then I can access specifically the event, go on the chart, and see the impact. Just amazing, and you can do it really in seconds through this function here. Again, to go back to reset, all I do is just click here on the reset, and again, reset the date. Now, I think that we covered the first part, and we are ready to move to the second. Let's go back to the default screen and find an instrument to play with. Let's as well, okay, let's Okay, so to choose an instrument displayed on the chart, you can do it in few ways. One is just to search it, and you click it from the list. The other way is going through the list here and or on the left-hand side, or just to look for your instrument manually for something. Okay, maybe in here, and maybe something that has a signal, maybe corn. Okay, then I can expand the chart and we can officially begin the second part. Let's get rid of everything we have here, focus on corn, and learn a few things. All right, so if okay, let's begin from left to right. Search bar we already saw. We can replace what's here and present whatever chart we want. If I keep going to the right, in here we have the time frames. Let's go for maybe days. And it's still a bit difficult to see. Let's go for maybe, okay, let's keep it like this. If I go to the right, we have the different shapes on the chart, if it's a line or if it's candlesticks or bars. Let's keep it like this for now. In here, I can enable the crosshair. You probably noticed, guys, that when I go with my hand across the chart, nothing is coming out of the candles, no data whatsoever. However, if I'll go to the right and I enable the crosshair from no crosshair to crosshair, and I have this cross following my hand, then I get data from the candles and I can do proper analysis with a rectangle presenting here at the upper left. If I keep going to the right, then I have another way to change the layout and maybe see 4 charts instead of 1. Or if I don't want to do it this complex, I can just keep it simple, maybe having 2, maybe having 1 on top of each other or like this, whatever I prefer. And I can as well export a chart to a different window, just like this. And then I can focus on the instrument and do my analysis. All right, to the right we have the indicators. Actually, I'd rather not do that now because we're gonna add an indicator anyway. So we will see how to use this section. And in here we can find all kind of things. In here, between the sell and the buy, there is a hidden inventory of things just to help us emphasize our analysis and remember something here. Let's maybe change 2 weeks. Okay. Yeah. Oh, one more thing. You see that I stretch the chart up and down, and I can also move it up and down. The reason that I can do this is because I clicked here on the column area right here from, as you can see, the price column. And when you click and squeeze or expand, that it enables you the ability to move the chart up and down and customize it specifically to the analysis. All right. Now things are making a bit more sense. Just a second, guys. All right. So beside what we saw on the toolbar, this lines that I'm placing at the moment to help me remember the analysis that I'm about to do are going to stay on the chart for me for next time. And I don't have to rethink about my analysis. I can just use what I have. And it's a huge, huge time saver because if I'll go again to corn and I have to reevaluate my analysis, of course the trends can change, right? We all understand the trends can change and tendency with time is also changing. But still, if I want to I want to do some analysis, and then I have to rethink about what I did in the previous session, previously when I traded, I can do that, but I'd rather save my time and perhaps refresh quickly what I did so I can remember it to the next time. Just looking at the lines, and then I can begin from a certain point and not from zero. All right. Now, let's assume that this, as an example, can be a buy scenario, okay? And with this buy scenario, let's take that down a bit. And also this one is a bit far away, but we'll keep it. We'll keep it for now. Okay, and to get the right-hand panel, all I have to do is just to click sell or buy. Let's go with buy. Okay, and then I get here the other window, and this also separated to two windows. To the right, we have the instrument details, which I can find all the hours that the instrument is working. As you can see, Saturday, corn isn't moving anywhere. Spread, leverage, margin, all those we have outside, which I'm going to show you. And underneath, we have the overnight fee if we would like to calculate the swap. Lot size as well. Okay, so those can be found in here. As I said, the margin, value, leverage, and spread. We saw it from here as well. And we have the traditional, what we saw previously, the 3 pending orders, which will enable like this, clicking on the boxes. Okay, now let's assume that I have no information about corn, no information at all, and still I think that the general trend here is up. Maybe even until the next resistance, which is 475. Okay, now how can I know how much I can make on the position, or how much I can lose, or even more than that, how much am I using out of my balance, out of my margin to occupy the position? Maybe this position is too big, and then I won't be able to take other positions at the same time. And as well, another question is, when should I stop the trade? When should I stop the trade? I see here possible profit 80. Maybe I'm not really happy with this. Maybe I want to make 300 or even 500 or more. And I can see here possible loss 80. Okay. Maybe I'm not happy with 80. Okay. Maybe I want to keep it to 0.5% or something like that. I want it to be less. Okay. So all those questions can be solved very, very easily, simply by having certain guidelines. Okay, so how can I know when to close this trade? What will be a sufficient profit for me to make? All I have to do is simply set a target. And of course, if I go to my positions, and in my positions I see that I'm making this much, as much as I wanted to, I have here a nice X, and I can close the position. Of course, if I don't have a target, I have to decide on the way while the position exists when I will close it. Okay. But if I have a target, then I know. So let's suppose that the target for now will be, let's go with $500. Okay, and as well, I want to know how long should I hold this position. Maybe it will take me a year to make this 500 out of corn. Maybe it will take me a month. Still too long. I need to schedule to my own strategy, to my own trading style, what will be the duration of my position. Of course, I can approximate. I don't have to decide I'm going to hold this position exactly 72 hours, and if it doesn't get there, I close it. I don't have to take it this far, but I need to frame it in some way for me to have an estimation of what price to expect. And also, this helps me understand if I'm going to be satisfied with the profit that I'm about to make. Maybe I'll hold this position for a year and I'm only making $50, right? Less than $5 a month. Ridiculous. Okay, maybe I'm not happy with this. Okay, so I must add the time interval to have some proportion. So the duration for this position, I think we are on weeks already, and a week doesn't sound too bad. Okay, the next thing that I want to find is the movements. Once we have a target and we've got to the target, amazing. We also have the duration. We expect this position to be held. Of course, it could be more or less depending on my decision. And the next thing that I would look for is the movement. Why? Because if I would target the 600 mark, let's be ambitious. Okay, let's suppose that this is my target price and I wish to buy it now and close it at the okay. Okay. And now when I have the this price in mind, how can I know if this is really a price that it can get to in a week, or this is way beyond the range that I'm expecting? What do you think, guys? Can corn get from where it's at right now, 450? Can corn get from 450 to 600? What do you think, guys? Is this doable, or my expectation is way far-fetched than a week to get there? Okay, so Billy, you don't think so? All right. Of course, let's remember that each candle here represents a week, right? Each candle here is a week. So the last time that it's been there was, let's look at it together, 600. That was June. That was June, okay? Not a week ago, more like half a year ago. So this 600 that I'm looking for, is it realistic to happen in a week or way more than a week? What do you think, guys? Way more than a week. All right, Sean, thank you. Barry as well. So we understand that there is a price that if I'll aim for it to happen in a week as I construct the position, I need to have proportion if it's realistic or not. And we all understand that it can get there in a week because, as we can see, it fell quite drastically on June, and it could happen the other way around. But on average, not as an exceptional, miraculous movement, we can't expect it to happen, right? Now, let's get rid of this very ambitious level, maybe bring it down to what it was, and get rid of that, and carry on with what we have. So if I would like to target a more realistic value, let's suppose this is the next resistance, 475, might be good. I can validate this by going through the candles and estimating the differences between the open and the close to the high and the lows. Those are the results and the proportions of which corn has fluctuated previously. Okay, this is the previous week, this is the week beforehand, the week beforehand, and the week before that. Okay, so this is one way, subtracting the numbers, dividing it to two groups, adding it and dividing it by the amount of intervals. However, this manual check is primitive and it's very time consuming. Instead of it, what we're going to do is we're going to apply an indicator called average true range. We're going to click and drag it to the right. We have here that we have certain types, simple, wielders, exponential, and weighted. We're going to stick with wielders for now. And I can also choose how many candles will I base my average upon. Will it be 14? So 14 weeks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way 14 weeks. Or maybe I would like to minimize this for less. Maybe I want to analyze only a month and a half, or maybe maybe half of what we have now. Let's go 7. And let's also change the color to something else so we won't be confused. And we immediately see that the average true range is only $14, which 600 was 150, right? So $14 is what we can expect corn to move on average. Could move more, could move less, but this on average. So we're going to point that out in our guidelines. So we'll have 14 just as a reference with an understanding that this 14 might not happen. That means that I need to take precautions and understand what is doable in the range of what I'm expecting to happen. And if I see that the resistance here, 475, and I take this 14 as reference, and instead of looking at 14, perhaps I will only take 10. And then I will place my take profit at the 460 mark as an example. Okay. And then I have the ATR average true range, and I have the PAM potential average movement. Okay, and my potential average movement will be 10. Okay, this is not the average. This is my potential average for me that I'm expecting to that will occur. Okay, now if I wish to simulate this, I will simulate this with 0.01. So we will get the results for the minimum, and then we can increase as we want. And in the take profit, as we said, $10 higher, $10 higher, because this is a buy scenario, we'll make it 460. And we can see that we can make $10 from $10 movement. However, if I wish to make 500, what I need to do is I need to divide my target by the movement, okay? And then I'll have the units. And that means that if I'll divide 500 by 10, how much is that? Who knows? Who knows how much is 500 divided by 10 before I'm pulling out the calculator? Let's see that. Correct. Very good, Alfie. Very again, perfect. Max. Okay. So let's do this. Excellent. We'll have it this way. We'll write it in here as well. And we are going to place it in the platform and see our results. Okay, we'll change here. Not in here. This is the lot. This is the measuring unit. Each lot equals 100 units. We don't need to change that to 100. We need to change that to 50. And in here, we're going to place it as our take profit, as we saw. And we see that we can make the 500 that we are looking for. Okay, a bit more than that because the buy price is the 450 and the sell price is a bit lower by almost $1. But as you can see, the calculation here makes sense, and if we'll be precise and go exactly $10, it will be a flat 500. Okay, but I'd rather target around price, and if I'll make a bit more than I expected, it's not a disaster. All right, now this works the other way around. Therefore, I must also acknowledge a scenario where I can lose. And in this case, I need to protect myself and not overexpose my account by taking this position. So if I'll take the same length we took to the profit, if I'll take it to the loss, it will be instead of 450, it will be 440. And with 440, oh, I have to match at least. Okay, seems like we have to be specific so you guys see what I'm doing. Okay, we'll just flatten this out to what we have here, and then we'll change this to the actual 449.25, and this will be okay. I'm doing this, you guys absolutely don't have to do what I do now, but I'm simply showing it for you guys to see a flat number so you won't be confused. So we have here the take profit. This is the possible profit and possible loss are identical, $500. Okay, but let's suppose that we're not really happy with this ratio and we would like to fix it for 1 to quarter. 1 to 0.25. Okay, so how do we do this? Of course, because the loss is based on the number of units versus the movements, what I can do is the simplest way is just to get the stop loss closer. And I can do this by taking fourth of the movement that we took at a moment. So if I'll divide 10 by 4, we'll have 2.5. So instead of subtracting from the current price 10, we'll subtract 2.5, which simply bringing us to 449.25 minus 2.5 to 446.75. We'll quickly take that and place it in here. And then we see 125 instead of 500, which is fourth of what we had in the possible loss. And that's not bad at all. Maybe this is a ratio that I'm much happier with. And that's great because then we maintain our possible loss and our possible profit while minimizing the possible loss. I could as well reduce the load size, but then it will have an impact on my profit. So by this exercise, we actually kept the profit as it is and the possible loss became smaller. Now, we also want to confirm that this position leaves us with some margin for the rest of our strategy. And by taking this position, we're not going to use the whole account. How can we validate this? The easiest way is just to look at the four parameters we have here, 3 to be honest, and that is price per unit times number of units equals value. Okay, we're going to use this formula even though it's presented here automatically. Right? We all see it's presented here automatically. I didn't write anything in here, but we're still gonna validate the price as this is a webinar and we want to learn. 449.25 times 50. Okay, this is for the sell. And if we go with the buy, 450 times 50, we see 22,500. So price times number of units, okay, equals, all right. Now, the leverage here is 1 to 10. What leverage does is it multiplies buying and selling. That means that my account will now behave as if it had 10 times more than the actual ability. And that is interpreted to margin. Okay, margin is their interpretation between the balance to the leverage, meaning that this is the necessary amount that I need to open the position instead of the actual value. This is what I would have needed if I wouldn't have any leverage at all. Okay. And of course, in this case, I wouldn't be able to open the position. But because I multiplied times 10, I can just divide the value by 10. And if I'll quickly go to the, okay, we're going to do it later because it will reset everything here, but I will show you in a moment that the margin here is 10% because the leverage is 1 to 10. All right. And now, if I'll put it down as a formula, it will be value divided by leverage equals margin impact. And margin impact is the necessary amount to open the position. Okay. And of course, we can safely say that this position is not going to take the whole account, maybe a little less than fourth. Okay, again, margin and not balance. We shouldn't be confused by that. Margin, we need to maintain a valuable margin in our account. We need to maintain the margin level. If we can't maintain the necessary margin to hold a position, the platform will close it automatically. Now, if I'll go to here, instrument details, we see that the margin here is 10%, right? See, 10% of whatever value we have. Now, while setting those prices, let's also correct what we had. I can also choose a price to bound my entry to, and then the numbers here that I'm adjusting won't change. How can I do that? I click here on the execute when price hits, and instead of this number with a decimal in our sell price, we can custom this price to be 450 exactly, and then we can work with round numbers. Okay, we have to also include a spread, which is quite wide now, and this is why it's not giving us a flat number. Now, the spread is the difference between the bid and the ask, and it will make my position begin with a minus and not with a flat zero. This is also a reason why there is a minimum length that I can set my take profit and stop loss to. And if I'll set the take profit or stop loss too close, the platform will not allow me to open the position. Okay, I can also cancel it on day. And if I think that I limit this position for a week as an example, and if it doesn't get there in a week, I want to close my pending orders. And this is something that I might want to do because if I don't set a cancellation date for my position, and then I have many pending orders, and then I go to my positions, I might have surprises. So I can review all my orders in here, and I can adjust it to fit on my strategy. As I showed, guys, this interface is very customizable, and it will stay like this, ready for me to do analysis next time I'm going to corn. Okay, and the ATR stays and the line stays and everything. Of course, the way that I set the chart is just my personal preparation. You don't have to do it this way. We can also confirm it with Fibonacci. Just quickly like this, right? And then we see similar routine levels. There are many tools here that you guys can enjoy. You saw that the indicators is very easy to add. If I want to get rid of an indicator, I click here on the X, or if I'll have multiple indicators and I feel like there's too much information on the chart and I just want to clean everything, I can do it in 5 seconds. I click here on the arrow, I click here on the clear drawing, and then everything is gone. Same with the indicators. Gonna click here on the indicators, delete all, and everything is gone. Okay, everything is back to where it was. I'm also gonna teach you guys a nice trick how to go back to the beginning. If you are in any other any other section in the website. Let's suppose you're here and you go back, you want to go back to the original screen. You click here on the icon and you're back. Same apply with the economic calendar as an example. You're here, you're doing analysis, you click here on the icon, just a second, and then you jump back to the to here. Now, as I promised, we still have 2 minutes, so I will briefly explain all the nice lines that I had on the chart, the reason that I had them. Of course, this is a webinar for beginners, so I can't be too advanced with my explanation, but I will just give you the idea of what I did and the reason that I had those lines on the chart. Okay, so the horizontal lines, as you saw, are meant to show us the levels and help us capture certain price. And the vertical lines are mentioning the dates, right? As you can see. And the reason that I put an oval here is because this was the last resistance, which was a little higher, right? And the reason that I choose a buy, again, it's just as an example, but the reason that I choose a buy is because I was under the impression that corn has a possibility to range around those levels. I don't know if beyond those levels, beyond those levels, but I think it had the potential to get to here. This is why I decided to go with a buy scenario. Again, like I said, we're not doing anything complex in analysis in this webinars, but I just want you guys to have the idea and the approach to how to even begin doing that. All right, so we are done for today, guys. I hope that everybody enjoyed the webinar and you've learned a little, at least one thing from what I taught you today. You're all welcome to join us tomorrow at the live Q&A. Like I said, a recording of this webinar will be found in our YouTube channel. Until then, I wish you all a fruitful week. Have a good day. Best of luck with trading.